guys, it's Shelly here. Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me today. On today's video, I'll be answering a few questions from the Colouring Memories tag. This tag was created by the lovely Erica at Elm Colours and here on YouTube and on Instagram. And I think it's been here for a while, but I just haven't managed to get around to, doing it. But then the very lovely Karen from at My Colourful Country Life tagged me. And I was like, that's the push I needed to get onto the tag as well. So yeah, I'll be answering a few questions. I would definitely recommend going and watching their videos too. They've been very interesting to watch. It's been really a nice little look into people's lives, really, like their childhood, which is really nice. So yeah. Go and check out their videos, and I'm sure there are loads of other people that have done tags. So I don't think I'll be tagging anyone. I think it's been a while, like I said, that this tag has been around, so I'm not even sure who hasn't been tagged anymore. But if you haven't been tagged and you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Make sure you tag or mention Erica from Elm Colours as the creator of the tag in your videos. But otherwise, yeah, go ahead and do it. And if any of you who are not YouTubers would like to answer any of these questions and share something special from your memories, then please do in the comments below. All right, so while I answer the questions, I'll be coloring on this page, coloring leaves. As you guys know, I love coloring leaves, from Tomislav Tomic Sprookjesbos. This is an uncolored book, and this is the first page that I've been trying to work on for a couple of months. So you may have seen it as a whip, maybe the last two completed pages, so July and August, you might have seen it as a whip. And all I had done was base it with watercolor paints because I wanted to just play around with paints and see how I could start using them in my coloring books. And now I've been going over with the pencils, and I absolutely love how it's turning out. But you'll be surprised to know I'm not using my Arbor Dura pencils. I'm using my Caran d'Ache Pablos, and it's been really fun because I know my Arbor Dura pencils. I know my go-to colors for leaves especially. And so it's been nice playing with the Pablos and trying to figure out the colors I like for my leaves. So yeah, and I love how they're turning out. So I'll be coloring these leaves here on the side as I try and answer the questions from the tag. And I think there are 10 questions with one bonus. And I'm not very good at coloring and chatting at the same time, but we'll give it a shot again. So yeah, here we go. All right. So the first question is, did you have a favorite coloring book or books as a child? So it will be quite surprising, but I have very few memories of coloring as a child. I feel like maybe I had too many hobbies. So I don't really remember anything specific, especially with regards to a specific book I used to color. And so I would say the very simple question to answer to that question would be no, I didn't have a favorite coloring book. I know it's a bit sad, but I'm not sure. I think as a child you get so many coloring books from a very early age. Like when I'm seeing my son, I always like going into like the works here in the UK, seeing what coloring books they have in there for children, and I just pick and choose and buy coloring books, and he has a few. And I think there's a very high chance that that's probably what happened as a child for me as well. You just color whatever you're given. And to be honest, for example, when I'm looking at my son, he prefers coloring in printed out pages. So I've been printing out like, Mariola Budek, all the freebies that she gives. They're quite large, illustrations for him to color. His coloring is not yet perfect, but he's getting better. He's only 3.5, but yeah, he prefers coloring in printed out pages rather than the coloring books I've got him. So yeah, but anyways, going back to myself and my childhood, which was many years ago, did you have a favorite coloring book? Unfortunately, not that I can remember. All right. Question number 2. What was your go-to art supply as a child? I think I tried racking my brain for this and trying to go back all those years to try and relive what I used to do when I was a child. But I think it's always been pencils. I don't really remember much coloring with like crayons that much. I know I must have used crayons, especially I think Crayola, and markers and stuff, but I think it always used to be pencils. So yeah, it's always been pencils. All right, I think I'm going to get through these questions really fast. So those of you who have always messaged me and said my videos are too long, you may be happy today. All right, number 3. Did you color or draw more as a child? That's a good question, because whenever I speak to you guys when I'm doing my coloring and I say I'm not really an artist, I can't draw, I like to trace, things like that, it comes as a surprise that when I was younger, I did used to like drawing, and I feel like I saved some of the pictures. It's just coming to my mind now. If I find it, I might pop some up here just to show you what I used to do. But I used to like copying. Like, I couldn't draw freestyle. I don't think I've ever had that creative ability or the skills to draw freestyle. But I used to love copying freehand, so not tracing, but copying like Disney characters and Warner Brother characters and things like that. And I remember doing that. I used to love drawing them and then I think coloring them in. So I have a very good memory of doing that. So yeah, I think my coloring and my drawing when I was younger were probably equal, which is very surprising to me because I don't really gravitate towards drawing at all as an adult. So yeah, I think as a child they were equal, and I really hope I can find some of those pages because I used to love doing it. I used to sit there for hours and just copy pictures because I remember this really fat book that I had of transfer sheets. Like, I think if I'm not mistaken, it would be Warner Brothers, because I used to love the Warner Brother characters like Sylvester, Tweety, I think Bugs Bunny, Tasmanian Devil, things like that. And I remember having a really fat book of just pages and pages of transfer sheets, which you would, I think, iron onto like fabric, so t-shirts, things like that. And then you would obviously paint those fabrics. So I never colored in that book as a coloring book. But I remember sitting there trying to copy those illustrations and then coloring them in. So yeah, I think it was sort of like a combination of both drawing and coloring. All right, so that was number 3. Number 4, do you have a favorite coloring memory as an adult or a child? I think the earliest, a lot of my coloring, like I have a really, not really big gap, but an age gap between me and my siblings. And so a lot of when I did arts and crafts, it was when I was just doing it on my own. So alone time or quiet time, things like that, rather than doing it with anyone. However, what I can remember is coloring at my grandma's house. So we are quite a large family in terms of an extended family, so cousins and things like that, relations like that. And there are 5 of us girls, first cousins, that are very similar age group. And when we used to go on holiday, or when we used to visit our grandma, we used to do a lot of like reunions, like family reunions and things like that, and during holidays. And so when we used to go and visit my grandma, she always had a stack of coloring books that she had kept specifically for us to come to her house and color while, you know, she cooked for us and things like that. And I really remember that. So I remember sitting at a dining table with my cousins and my grandma dishing out the coloring books, and then she'd swap them around so we all get different coloring books on a different day to make sure everyone gets a chance to color in every coloring book. And she'd have the supplies there. I think it would be pencils. So she'd have the supplies there for us, and yeah, I remember that. And I think those were very happy memories. I think it was really nice. I can still literally picture that sort of room that used to be, and I can picture the kitchen where she'd disappear into to go and cook, and I can't remember the books, but I remember they were like thinner books, more akin to things like Amazon books and things like that. But yeah, I can still picture that in my mind. So I would say, yeah, my favorite childhood memory of coloring would be at my grandma's house, with my cousins, with some company around me, and yeah, during school holidays. And it was just all happy and fun and stress-free childhood life. So yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite childhood memory of coloring. And then I also have a bit more of a recent, because obviously coloring, when did I start coloring? I would say 2020, isn't it? And so it's more recent, but I would say one of my favorite adult coloring memories that I'll probably always remember, and I made a point to actually experience that, was when we did a little reunion back in Kenya. So as you guys know, I am originally from Kenya, so my family home was in Kenya, and it was when my son was only 1, so maybe 2020 going into 20, so it was the Christmas of 2021, I would like to say, I think. So yeah, I'd gone to visit my parents, who are back in Kenya, and all of us siblings got together with our families and our kids, and we were all staying at the family home at mum and dad's. And I remember taking the time, so the house we had there was had a beautiful view of a lake at the end of our garden, and so we had the balcony that you could sit on, quite a large balcony, like we'd entertain and stuff on that balcony. So we'd sit there and we could overlook the lake. And I made it a point on that trip, I'd taken only a few books of coloring with me, but I was already pretty much into coloring. I hadn't started the YouTube channel or anything like that, but I think I was on Instagram already. But yeah, I'd taken just maybe 4 or 5 books with me, and I made sure I sat on that balcony in the fresh air overlooking the lake, and I colored, and I just enjoyed that process. I enjoyed coloring there. I enjoyed just taking in the views and sort of soaking in my childhood home, you know, making those memories. And it was nice. It was nice being able to color at my childhood home, and it was nice that everyone was around. So every now and then some of the family would come out, and we'd all have a cup of tea at the, you know, on the table that I'd be coloring on, and I'd be coloring and we'd be chatting and just enjoying family time. So just the family time, the coloring, the surroundings, the family home, all of that was just amazing. And I don't think I'll ever forget that, and I don't think I'll ever get a chance to do that again. So it was really nice to be able to attach a little bit of my adult coloring life to my family home. So yeah, as an adult, my favorite memory will be coloring, yeah, back in Kenya, enjoying family time as well as my home and things like that. So with beautiful weather, Kenya has beautiful weather, and December is usually summer over there. So it was really beautiful, a beautiful time to actually be there and enjoy. Yeah. So yeah, that's my favorite coloring memory as an adult and as a child. All right, so just going to check everything is in view. Number 5. What was your first adult coloring book? I think I can show you guys this. So as you guys know, if you've been watching any of my videos or followed any of my videos, it is Animorphia by Kirby Rosanz. And I got this book back in, I think it was 2015. I always keep getting confused, but I say it started in 2016, or maybe I got it in 2016. So yeah, this was my first ever coloring book. and I just happened to come across it in the bookshop and I bought it. I loved the art. And so this is my first coloring book, and this is my first ever adult coloring book. I'm just going to see if I can fit this in a little bit better. So it's not the full page, but you get a gist. But this is my first ever adult coloring page. And yeah, my very first pages. And then, like I've said before, coloring didn't stick, and I went on to I stopped coloring for a while, and then I started again properly in 2020. But these are very, very early pages before 2020. That's my dad's. I covered his name. So that's also another memory I think I'll always hold, is my dad also trying to get his hands into coloring. So yeah, so my first adult coloring book was Animorphia by Kirby Rosanz. Very different to a lot of other people, who I think would have had Johanna Basford as their first book. So yeah, that was my first adult coloring book. And what is your first, number 6, what was your first adult coloring supply? So my first adult coloring supply, so I got the Animorphia book, and that was from a shop here in the UK. Sorry if my voice is changing, but that was from a shop here in the UK, WH Smith, just a bookshop, a stationery shop really, and it had a few coloring books, obviously Johanna Basford's at that time, because it was 2016, and then Kirby Rosanz was there, and maybe Lizzie Mary Cullen, but at that time I didn't pick that one up. I was inclined, I was more attracted by Kirby's artwork, which is why I picked up Kirby. So I picked up Kirby's book, and then I said, okay, well, I need pencils. I don't have any pencils. So then I just went and picked up WH Smith 24 set of pencils. Very budget brand, not the best pencils. However, I don't have them anymore. I literally use them pretty much to stumps, and have got rid of them. But what I would say, because I didn't enjoy them, and I probably used them just for a little bit, but they got used up very fast, possibly because Kirby's pages are so detailed, and the Animorphia book was basically double page spreads. But I very quickly decided I didn't like them, and so I would say my first proper adult coloring supply is my Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer pencils, and it was a set of 36. You guys have seen this a few times in my videos, but those pencils are long gone and used up and loved, but these are just my stock pencils ready to go into my 120 set now, once I've used up the pencils completely as much as I can. So these are just stock pencils, but it was this, I still have the case, this was the first case, but the set of 36 Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer pencils, and that's when I fell in love, and I've never fell out of love with those pencils. So I would say, yeah, that was my first adult coloring supply. Things like markers, paint pens, maybe paint pens, Posca White probably came in quite early into my coloring, but any of the other supplies I use nowadays, like distressings, water-based markers and paint pens, those are the things, and glitter gel pens, those are the things I use probably a lot nowadays, but they were not very early in my coloring. So yeah, there we go. So get my pencils again and we go on to number 7. How did you get into adult coloring? I just stumbled across it, actually, to be honest. I did not know it was a thing. So this is not going to be a really interesting answer, but I didn't really know adult coloring was a thing. I guess it was very early when I came across Animorphia's books. So it was just when adult coloring was sort of taking off. I didn't know that there was anything on YouTube or anything like that. I just came across Animorphia, I just came across adult coloring books in the bookshop, like I said, in the stationery store. I love going into stationery stores. I think a lot of us probably share that one common And so yeah, I just like going into there and looking around, and I saw the cover of Animorphia, and I was like, it said, does it say it? Animorphia, Kirby Results. It just says an extreme coloring and search challenge, but I just got attracted to that illustration on the cover, and so I opened the book and I saw how intricate the details were, and I'm like, there's no way this is for children. And I just fell in love with Kirby's work. I saw Johanna Basford's. I know she's very popular and her work is beautiful, but it wasn't really me. I think it was the art more than anything that attracted me to pick up the book and say, I'm going to take this home and try it, more than the fact that it was adult coloring. Because Kirby's work, as we all know, is just outstanding. And even having a book of his without having colored in it, just having his artwork is amazing. And I think I've always liked looking at art and things like that. And so that's what attracted me to it, just his art. And it just looked like, even without being colored, it just looked like a finished work of art. And so I think it's the book, the art style, that made me pick it up, really. And yeah, that's how I sort of got into adult coloring. I just picked it up and I enjoyed it. But to be honest, the reason I would even consider picking it up is probably because I've always been inclined to doing hobbies. So since I was young, I remember, like I said, there was a little age gap between my siblings and me. So when they were teenagers, I was a bit younger, and obviously as teenagers want to do their own thing and don't want a younger sibling sort of tagging along. And so there were many times when I was alone, and I used to tell my mom, I'm like, I'm bored, I don't know what to do. And my mom always used to tell me, she's like, you should never be able to say you're bored. You have so many things you could do, and you should always be able to find something to do and never say you're bored. And that has sort of stayed with me till today. So I blame my mom for wanting to constantly keep doing hobbies and getting into adult coloring in the end. But yeah, I would say, because mom used to tell me that you can't say you're bored, there's so much to do in life. And then she'd go off on a little discussion and say what they used to do when they were young, and they used to be outside and play marbles and always find something to do, and they were never bored. So I used to have hobbies when I was younger. Since I was a kid, I have tried so many things: drawing, coloring. Then I used to do fabric painting, and then I used to do jigsaw puzzles and 3D jigsaw puzzles. And then I used to write. I just used to pick something I'd like to write on. And oh, that just reminds me, there's one, I don't think I have it though, but there's one story I remember writing, and I titled it End of a Life. But do you know what the story was about? A color pencil. Can you imagine? So I had written, I don't know if it was a poem or just a little 1-page or 2-page story about how the pencil worked. So I think it was a poem or something like that, and the end of a life, and how it was just then chucked into the dustbin. It's so weird. I don't know why that came to my mind, but there we go. So I used to find things to do. So I used to write and bake, and I'd always find something or the other to do, because I was not allowed to say I'm bored and I need to find something to do. And I think that's actually a blessing in disguise, because as an adult, I've learned how to, going into school and uni, and I was away from home for so long, and I just learned how to keep myself occupied and never feel like I'm all alone, or I used to be comfortable with spending time on my own. And I think that's a really good, that's a blessing, basically, because when you're on your own, for some people, it can be quite daunting and you don't know what to do, and it can get you down. But I don't experience that. And I think that's thanks to my mum, with regards to just always find something to do, to keep yourself occupied, to keep yourself busy, so that you're not just sitting there in silence, right? Isn't there a saying that says a silent mind is a devil's workshop or something like that, isn't it? So yeah. So basically, I've always had that little bit of inclination to do hobbies. So as I was growing up, or as an adult, I had hobbies then too. So I used to do baking. I used to have a little cupcake business when I was back in Kenya. So I was working at that time, so I was already a professional. But in my out of work time, I would bake and I would sell cupcakes. And my favorite part of it was decorating those cupcakes. You know, I'd make the fondant decorations and with the cutters and 3D ones and things like that. So I would do cupcakes, and then I've always done jigsaw puzzles. I love jigsaws. Then I got into diamond painting, and I did, what else have I done? Cross stitching and jewelry making. I tried selling jewelry at one point, but that became too much. That was closer to when I had my little one. So it became too time consuming. Look, I'm not even coloring at the same time, guys. What else have I done? So jewelry making, and then yeah, so naturally when I saw that there was something new out there, which was the coloring, it was just so natural for me to pick it up and say, okay, this is something new, I'm going to try it. And that's how I got into it, really. So it's not really an exciting story. It wasn't anything like, I know a lot of people pick it up for mental health, which it is amazing. Like, I can tell you for sure it helps me a lot with my mental health. Just keeps me upbeat and helps me face my day and things like that. But the reasoning for starting it was literally just, it was a new hobby for me to try out. And I'm so glad I did, guys. So yeah, what was the question? How did you get into adult coloring? Yeah, so that's it. Just that I think naturally in me, it's been instilled in me that I should never be sitting idle and not just be lost and feel bored and things like that. I should always be able to look for something to do. So I've just naturally always had some sort of hobby to do. And I think it's always been creative for me. Yeah, I don't know why, but it's always been creative for me. And even the profession I've gone into, it's quite a creative profession, you know, fixing teeth, you know, I only work with white, but it is quite a creative, I would say there is an artistic aspect to dentistry. And so, yeah, everything is just creative, basically. So yeah, there we go. How did you get into adult coloring? Okay, number 8. Who was your first YouTube colorist? First YouTube, yeah. So once I started coloring, then I was coloring in Kirby's books, and I still didn't realize that there was a coloring community out there. So I think I came to a point where I started getting stuck on what colors to do or how to color his pages. The doodles were getting a little bit much for me, and just coming up with color ideas was a little bit of a, you know, challenge. And so I think happened to decide to search online, and I came across Peter Hewitt, and that's what got me to buy my second book, which was Lizzie Mary Cullen's Magical City. And I already, I think, had the Albrecht Dürer pencils by then, so I didn't really go ahead and get the Inktense. As you guys know, I'm very controlled with the supplies I buy, but yeah, I didn't go ahead and get the Inktense, but I tried to follow along her YouTube videos, her amazing YouTube videos with my Albrecht Dürer pencils, and I loved it. I really enjoyed her channel, and I always hope that one day she will come back and do more videos for us, because I think she has an amazing way of explaining things, so simple. And I think yeah, it would be nice to see her. But she was my first, I think, YouTube colorist. And then who else did I who else do I remember? I think definitely Chris Cheng I came across, although I found at that stage, like, her coloring was so amazing, and obviously she used Prismacolor, so very different to what I use, and I found it a challenge. But I feel like that was a bit later on, because even the books she was coloring in was a little bit different to what I had, which was the Kirby Rosans and Lizzie Mary Cullen. But I remember, I think it was Peter Hewitt. It was just Peter Hewitt, and I'm just trying to remember the time frame, because I feel like Chris Cheng and Coloring with Alina came later on. So that could have even been in 2020. So I can't remember now, or just slightly before 2020, before I started getting more books into my collection. Because yes, I remember getting Magical Christmas from Lizzie Mary Cullen as a Christmas gift from my husband. So that was my third coloring book I got, and I remember saying, okay, I don't know how to tackle it, and I searched it and I came across Coloring with Alina's. Yeah, she did a double page spread, a really nice one. I think it was like a Shakespeare one or something like that. And so I came across her channel with regards to that book. So yeah, I would say the first two were Peter Hewitt first, and then it was Coloring with Alina. And I still love Coloring with Alina's channel, and I hope that Peter Hewitt comes back. All right. Number 9. What is your first page you remember being really proud of? I think I was really proud of the very first page I colored, which is really funny. So I did show it to you guys. I'll just show it to you again, because when I look at it now, I'm like, seriously, how were you proud of this? But I was really proud. So this was my first page, adult coloring page ever. And I was really proud about it. I think I liked the colors. I just liked how I was able to get through coloring animals. I didn't realize it looks nothing like fur. I just colored and I enjoyed it, and I was really proud of it, because I feel like I remember also taking a picture and sending it to my family and saying, look what I did. But I think I was proud that I was able to try and use different colors, and this was not following anyone or not knowing anything about coloring, and I was just naturally trying to do different color combinations in areas. Like here I've used yellow, orange, pink. I've tried to, maybe here I've just done one purple and gone dark to light, but then added a bit of shading, unless that's Kirby's line work that makes it look like I was doing shading. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. But I was trying like these areas. So I did a light green, and then I used a darker green in all the areas that Kirby had just hatched out. So not really blending, I was just doing the strokes like he had done, but with a darker green, but I was still proud about it. But yeah, I would say this is my first page that I was proud of. I used like a light purple there with a darker purple. So I think I was just impressed that I could think about using different colors and coming up with so many different greens, because yeah, my sets were quite small at that time. So I was very proud of that. And I also remember being proud of this, because this is where I used my Albrecht Dürer pencils, and I did try and activate it, unless I came back later to activate it. I'm not even, I don't even remember, guys. 2015, it seems like such a long time ago, but I was really proud of that, because of that, I did happen to then carry on coloring. So yeah, funny enough, my first ever page, adult coloring page, I was proud of, which is okay. I have done one leaf while I've been chatting, guys. I'm not very good at coloring chats. That's probably why it's a good thing I don't do them. All right. So yeah, I was proud of my first page that I colored, and happy with what I produced without any, you know, help or anything like that. And nowadays when I color, I think every page I color I'm happy with. Proud of, I don't know, but for me, as I mentioned, it's always the process of coloring, and as long as I've enjoyed the process, it's usually a page I have liked coloring. All right. Number 10. What made you think, yes, I am now absolutely an adult colorist? Going back to the other question, first page you ever remember being proud of, I think that's a good point. Like, I might look through my books and see book pages that I'm actually really, really, like you say, like the question says, proud of, rather than just happy that I colored. I know I was proud of my first page. Other pages, yeah, sometimes I'm happy with them, sometimes I'm proud of them. So yeah, maybe I'll have to look back at my pages and see, possibly share it with you guys on a video one day, all my favorite pages, or all the pages I'm proud of, or something. Anyways, number 10. What made you think, yes, I'm now absolutely an adult colorist? I don't know if I consciously ever thought that, but I would say it would probably be once I started coloring on a daily basis. So after 2020, and after I started realizing that there was a coloring community out there. So I started coloring earlier in 2020, and I realized about Instagram a bit later. And I think I joined Instagram in like September or something like that of 2020, September, October possibly of 2020. And so when I found out that there is a whole proper coloring community out there on Instagram and things like that, I didn't have an Instagram account till then, like not even a personal one. I didn't even really know how to use it. And so I would say that's the point where I started interacting with other colorists on Instagram and just sharing my work with everyone, and looking at everyone's work. And so that sort of made me feel like I was part of something. So like the adult coloring community, I was part of the adult coloring community, and therefore I was an adult colorist. So I think that is probably as simple as it is, just realizing that there's so many of us out there who are coloring, and that there was that community, and I started mixing with all of you lovely people out there and realizing that there's this little world. Yes, we haven't met in person, but there's this little world that is ours, and I'm part of it. And yeah, I guess that makes me an adult colorist, and I'm part of the adult coloring community. So yeah, nice thought, isn't it? Being part of something. So yeah, I would say that's probably what it is. So that was question number 10, but there is a bonus question. And the bonus question is, who in the coloring community do you remember reaching out to you and making you feel included? That is a little bit of a difficult one, like, because it doesn't have to be from when I started YouTube, but I think on Instagram, I just found so many people sort of just commenting and stuff like that. So I would say no one in particular, but there's so many people out there who will not fail to comment on a picture from day one of me creating an Instagram account when I was very early in my coloring, and they're still there today, and they still make sure they like and comment about my any of the pages I put up on Instagram. So there are a lot of people out there who definitely make me feel included. And then I would say when I started YouTube, I think I can't even remember how I decided it, you know, just one night. I remember emailing Coloring with Kay because she had done a video on, I can't even remember the video now. My memory, guys, is just ridiculous. But she had done a video on something, and I think I remember her saying something like, if you want to do it, just go for it. So it might have been about getting started on YouTube or something like that. I can't even remember. But I just emailed her. And I said, I really enjoyed your video and it's really inspired me, and I'm thinking that I'm just going to start a video. I have no idea what to do. I don't have anything different to offer than anyone else, because, you know, everyone has different skills. Like, for example, Zucchini Kitty. Karen from Zucchini Kitty is amazing at her distressings. Coloring with Kay is amazing at all her sparkle and, you know, shine and everything like that. Karen from Karen from My Colorful Country Life is amazing at her Kirby pages. They just blow my mind. So everyone has something special to offer, and I was just thinking, what am I going to really do? But she just told me, go for it. She's like, if you feel like doing it, just do it. And yeah, just dive in. And so that inspired me. So that was a little bit of support, I would say. But when I announced it, and I don't even remember how I announced it. I don't know if it was on Instagram or what I did. But I remember Erica from @colorist. So I think it must have been on Instagram. And she sent me a private message. And that was like probably after the, you know, just mentioning I'm going to do a YouTube channel, or I've created a YouTube channel or something like that. And literally she was the first person that just messaged me first and probably only person that messaged me privately, and she's like, I am so excited that you're going to be making videos, and that made me feel so happy and so encouraged and inspired to just do it, and not second guess myself or anything like that. And so I would say yes, Erica definitely made me feel included, because I don't think I remember any other colorists after I started you know, saying, oh, it's really nice that you're here, or we love your videos, or anything like that. I think it took quite a while for that to happen, but Erica just from the word go messaged me and was like, this is so exciting and I'm so excited and all the best. And so that just made me feel so included, and I'm very grateful to her, because it just gave me that boost I needed as well. And then I think the first person that asked me for a body color was Coloring Imogen from at Coloring Kid, and she, I feel like I'd remembered being in touch with her even before I was a YouTuber, and so she messaged me and said, would you like to do a coloring, a body color in one of Rita's books, Rita Berman's books, because I love Rita Berman, she loved Rita Berman, and she's like, would you like to do that? So she was the first one that asked me for a body color, and that made me feel quite included as well. But so yeah, I would say a lot of you on Instagram definitely made me feel included from day one when I just started the Instagram account, and then it's just the love has just poured in. So yeah, thank you all for just making coloring such a beautiful part of my life, as cheesy as it sounds, but it really is, and I love it. And I love this little getaway that I have from my work life, from just routine life, and I think we all share that little bit of love for coloring. That's why we're all here. And yeah, I just want to thank you all, or everyone on Instagram that made me feel included just as an Instagrammer, and then everyone who has been watching my videos and just making me feel so much love and so much positivity and encouragement with this channel. And yeah, so I would say I've just gone off on a tangent, but there we go. So yeah, I think I've answered all the questions before I just go on rambling. I don't even know how long this video is. I thought it wouldn't be long. How long is it, guys? 40 minutes. Okay, that's not too bad for me, is it, guys? Because I have had some people say, you chat a bit too much. We just want to see what you're doing, or just see your completed pages. So I apologize, guys. I do find it hard, but I really enjoy talking to you guys. Even though I don't hear any replies coming back to me, but I do enjoy talking to you guys. It makes me happy. All right, guys. So those were my questions. Like I said, I'm not going to tag anyone. I'm sorry I didn't get many leaves done. And just in case anyone wants to know my leaf combination for the Pablos, I will try to remember to put it in the description box below. All right, so I'll try and remember that, because I love them. I think it's working really nice for this page. What do you guys think? Yeah, I think I like them. It's giving a nice depth to this illustration, actually. I really like how it's turning out. So yeah, I'll try and remember to share that in the description box below. But yeah, thank you, Erica, for creating the tag. Thank you, Karen, for tagging me. Gave me the push I needed, and I really enjoyed just thinking back at how I was as a child, to be honest. Brought back so many memories, so it was really nice doing this. And hopefully I'll be back with you guys soon on another video. The colouring has been a bit slow very slow this month, but it's okay. I had time with my parents. They'd come to visit, so that's been amazing, and I think I wanted to spend the maximum amount of time I had with them. But I've done a little bit of colouring, as you guys can see, so hopefully I'll have something to show you guys in my completed pages video. I'll leave you guys to it, and I'll be back with you guys soon. Take care. Thank you for watching, as always. Thank you for your support and love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.